Good morning. It's Wednesday. You're halfway through your work week and you're getting pretty close to getting to church again. That's exciting. This past week we got to celebrate fathers or any person in your life who was like a father figure. And as I was preparing for this devotion, I came across a story about this professor who was on a family vacation with his wife, and they went to a diner, and an older gentleman was going around talking to everybody, and the older man came over to their table and started talking with them, and he started telling them a story because he found out that the guy was a professor from a seminary, which he thought was interesting that it was a school for preachers. He pointed out the window to an old mountain and said, over that way there's an old church, and near that church there was a young boy that was born to an unwed mother. And everybody would always ask that boy, "Who's your daddy? Who's your daddy?" And he gained a real hatred for that question because he didn't know who his dad was, and it was kind of discouraging to him. Well, a new preacher came around, and the young boy would always come in late to church and duck out early so that he would never have to deal with that question. And one day the preacher said the benediction a little faster than normal. The boy got caught up in the crowd, and the preacher put his hand on the boy's shoulder and said, "Son, who's your daddy?" And the boy got quiet, and the whole congregation got quiet. And the preacher, realizing that something was going on, looked at the boy and goes, "Oh, I see it now. I see the family resemblance. I know who your daddy is. You're a child of God." And the boy walked out of that church that day with a big smile on his face. Everywhere he went, he would always smile and tell people, "I'm a child of God." The man finished his story and said, "If that preacher wouldn't have ever stopped me that day and told me who my daddy was, I probably wouldn't have amounted to anything." Isn't that a good story? Well, the guy left, and the professor and his wife looked at each other and asked the waitress, "Who was that man over there?" And she said, "Well, everybody knows him. He's the former governor of Tennessee." In life, we might come across people who get under our skins. We might come across people who just infuriate us to no other end. But if I've learned anything from the moral of that story is, you don't know who somebody's daddy is. Could be that you're siblings. It could be that they're also a child of God. I want to end with reading from Colossians chapter 1. "For this reason also, since the day we've heard it, we have not ceased to pray for you and to ask that you may be filled with his knowledge of his will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so that you will walk in the manner worthy of the Lord, to please him in all respects, bearing fruit in every good work and increasing in his knowledge of God, strengthened with all power according to his glorious might, for attaining all steadfast and patience, joyously giving thanks to the Father, who has qualified us to share in the inheritance of the saints in light." I pray that you guys have a great rest of the week. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday. And remember, that could be your sibling right around the corner. Have a great week.